We are SquareOne. My name is Lucas Laird, to my right is Avery Frew, and to my left is Julia Fredette. We are the beginning of a new image for Aldergrove, a part of Langley that is often overlooked, and our plan is to start at SquareOne. Aldergrove itself has had a history enveloped by agriculture, but has slowly become nothing more than a pit stop on Fraser Highway, or where you get your cheap gas from. We agreed that the best way to transform our town is to go back to our roots and rekindle Aldergrove's relationship with the land. But in order to do that, we must recognize what has to be done to repair the land and connect it with today's residents.
I want our green life to be up. More trees, more parks, and more plants.
We need better ways to protect the environment.
Aldergrove needs to be more accessible or have more accessible places.
There just isn't anything fun to do here.
Aldergrove needs to clean up.
These are just some of the many responses we were able to gather from our town and others by Microsoft Forums, and they paint a different picture than what many of us would like to. In general, most people don't even know that Aldergrove exists, and when they do, they openly disrespect both the town and the people that reside there. This is why Aldergrove not only needs these problems fixed, but also a rebranding to ensure that people know that our town is changing. The main thing that we're reminded of as residents of Aldergrove is that littering is common, and when people drive or stop by, that is the first impression being made of our town. Current residents have also noticed that public transport is often unreliable and bad for the environment. With all this in mind, we have a few plans to ensure that Aldergrove itself will be able to reduce its impacts on the environment and appease both our Indigenous and non-Indigenous residents.
Tetsawayan, welcome, there is room for you all. This word best describes what current youth believe is lacking in Aldergrove. Under the guise of our Indigenous support worker Vance, who is stationed at our school, we decided that implementing an Indigenous community center would help bring that sense of connection and belonging that we have been striving for. We propose that we use the lot beside the Aldergrove Credit Union Community Center to construct our center, which we proudly call Mamawi. This translates to together. The name is in Cree, and we chose this to honor those wrongly displaced in Aldergrove during the 60s scoop, which our Indigenous populations still feel the effects from today. Mamawi would help strengthen the voices of our Indigenous populations by featuring them in Langley's first fully Indigenous library. The center would also include a peace circle, which would be a more comfortable space for Indigenous speakers or presenters, and a bigger cultural space for cultural practices and tradition. The building itself would be made to be zero net carbon, which would help decrease gas emissions and introduce this form of environmentally conscious construction to Aldergrove. The entire building would be powered by solar power as opposed to being on a traditional electric grid system, which would help further decrease any other forms of air pollution from this building, including gases like methane and fossil fuels. On the roof around our solar panels, as seen in our physical model, the community center features a living roof that would be maintained by irrigated rainwater and municipal water sources. All these additional add-ons to the building will set precedent for future buildings in our area. As of right now, the building we propose would be the only one in Aldergrove to feature any environmentally conscious construction. Additionally, next year's graduating students and onward will be required to complete an Indigenous course to graduate. Our center would support Indigenous learning in our community, as well as providing volunteer and work opportunities to apply that knowledge. We believe this connection between community and school is essential to a new Aldergrove.
Continually, we plan to implement other additions alongside the Indigenous Community Center. This includes educational trails, which would be situated alongside Fraser Highway. These trails would include plants that are native to British Columbia. These trails would also have plaques, which would allow community members to listen to audio clips through QR codes. This would highlight the significance of each individual plant. As well, we believe that the best way to change the culture of Aldergrove is by fully utilizing these trails. Mamawi would also house employees who could give tours to better immerse those interested in a more personal learning experience. Along these trails, we would also feature proper garbage disposal, recycling, and composting bins, in which the Township of Langley has been pushing for.
Regarding the public transport concerns, we want to partner with an electric shared vehicle company called Lime. This will allow for Aldergrove's public transport to become more accessible, sustainable, and reliable. Both electric bikes and scooters have been proven to use 75% less carbon than cars, and when taking into account that transportation is the second largest contributor to greenhouse gases, this would be a huge push for sustainability in Alder Grove. Additionally, the use of Lime's transportation is both more accessible and affordable than most cars and other public transport currently available. To unlock an electric bike or scooter, you will need to pay $1 to start it and an additional 30 cents per minute of use. This has already been introduced into many cities across Canada, some of these cities being Richmond, Kelowna, and North Vancouver. After looking into these examples, we believe that a company such as Lime would be a fantastic fit for Alder Grove.
As climate change becomes more of a pressing issue globally, we believe that there needs to be a greater effort to reduce the use of natural gases within Alder Grove. Introducing Lime is a start, but we think we could target another huge contributor to climate change. As methane is being produced, it can be collected and refined and put directly back into the natural gas pipelines. This could be introduced into our Langley transfer station, which is adjacent to Alder Grove itself. This serves as our town's primary dumping grounds. The purification of this methane can lessen the amount of methane being put into our atmosphere, as well as lessen the amount of natural gases being used overall. Natural gas makes up a large portion of our total energy consumption here in Canada, and by using more innovative ways to power Alder Grove, we can effectively become one of, if not the most earth-conscious zone in all of the Langley Township.
Furthermore, we are on the forefront for effective change for Alder Grove to make our town so much more than what others say it is. To many, people don't even know where or what Alder Grove is, but to us, it's our home. We have watched how development has been halted, slowed, and overlooked by the overall population of the township of Langley. Our solutions are possible and would create a different image for Alder Grove that would change the culture of our town. Together, we can help make Alder Grove a true component of the township of Langley. Thank you.